So we got an interesting headline from yesterday. CFTC, right? CF press release. July 3rd. The day before Independence Day, right? Oh, independence from the corrupt markets, the rigged markets? Could it be timing one day before? What is this? CFTC to hold open meeting to consider final rule on further definition of the term swap. Final rule on the end user exception to clearing and proposed rule to exempt from clearing certain swaps by cooperatives. The CFTC will hold a public meeting on Tuesday, July 10th at 9:30 a.m. to consider two final rules and a proposed rule. Again, this is that swaps definition that when the Frank-Dodd Act came into play, one of the provisions in there said, CFTC, it's time for position limit rules on commodities. JP Morgan, who has the lion's share of positions, paper positions on silver, especially short positions, yeah, you're going to not be able to hold on to those positions. You can only hold on to X amount once we implement this rule. You can't have 25% of the market in your hands, or 50% or more, or whatever. You can only have a few. So, sorry, JP Morgan. Now, that's basically what the Frank-Dodd Act said. And it also said we need this implemented by no later than like July of 2011 or something like that. Here we are, July of 2012, a year later, still not implemented. And they said, well, we had some meetings and we got the final swap rule and it's coming up in November of 2011. And then MF Global happened. We got to postpone it after they already postponed it 2 or 3 times before that, by the way. And now that we're investigating, MF Global, John Corzine, we're gonna have to put the swaps definition on the back burner. And the definition of swaps is why they said they couldn't implement the position limit rule yet, because they had to for sure define that word swaps, what it means, in different variations of it. We've got to nail that down before we can implement this position limit rule. But once we implement the rule, we're giving our banker friends and everybody 60 days from the day we decide we've defined the word swap and we're implementing it. You've got 60 days until this thing kicks in. However, it's a 2-part kick-in, if you will. When you pull out a futures contract, this is what we're talking about with JP Morgan and whatnot, these paper, positions that they're sitting on. You have what they call the spot month. And the spot month means if you go out and get a contract, and my nose is like running and itching out of control right now. The spot month. You get a futures contract. It's good for the month we're in. That's it. You can't hang on to it longer than that. It's not one of these ones that's out there 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 2 years out, whatever. It's this month. That's the first part of the rule. And in 60 days, once they define the word swaps, 60 days after that, the rule kicks in, but it's just the first part of the rule. And the first part of the rule means JP Morgan and the rest of you guys who have these huge positions, and again, mainly it's JP Morgan, you have to comply once this goes live in 60 days after we define the word swap. And that's only for the spot month, the month we're in. So I thought to myself, well, what's going to stop JP Morgan from, say, going out 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, 16 months, 2 years out in a futures contract and hoarding a massive amount of short positions that they've been doing with the spot month or whatever? They don't have to have the spot month to manipulate the market. So in other words, when this thing kicks in, and we've got 60 days after it kicks in, I don't know how that's really going to affect this. And you know what? It actually could affect it in a good way. And it's possible that JP Morgan relied on the spot month contracts to do its dirty work. It needs the spot month for some reason. But I know for a fact you can get a futures contract, or many of them, and hoard them like JP Morgan does, 2 months out, 6 months, 2 years, etc. So if JP Morgan was doing it with the spot month, why couldn't they do it with the non-spot months, which is every other month after the month you're in? So the second part of the rule states Once we kick this thing in gear, again, the 60 days goes by, then the spot month rule kicks in. A whole year later, the second part of that kicks in, which is not only the spot month, you can't have a massive amount of positions, you can only have a few, but all the other months also, you can no longer have a whole bunch of contracts. In other words, it's across the board. You can't have huge positions anymore. You can only have a few. So when I hear this, I'm going to have a meeting on July 10th, and this is just a public meeting, open to consider, hold open meeting to consider final rule on the definition of swaps. So what if they go in there and they say, this is what we've come up with, public meeting, you guys can come in, we want to hear from you too, or maybe not, whatever, we're going to listen to them have this meeting. And they decide, okay, everybody satisfied? Okay, good. I'm glad we're satisfied. Now, we'll let you know when we're going to implement the rule. Should be in another month or two, or who knows what they'll say. And then when they implement it, we still have to wait 60 days, because that's what they said, after they define the word swaps. So is this date, July 10th, and they could do it, which is say, okay, we're satisfied, boom, it goes into effect today. And now 60 days from today, which will be July 10th, 60 days after that, spot month, you have to be in compliance. But you don't have to be in compliance for every other month, which means there's 2 months out, 3 months out, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 24. You have all those months to buy a bunch of contracts. And if you flood and sell those contracts short, like JP Morgan can and will do, what's to stop that from causing the market to go down too? Does it really matter if it's the spot month contracts versus all the other months? I honestly don't know. But my instincts tell me it doesn't. But it could. It really could. And I don't know. So I want to share this whole view with you. So that you can just think about this. So let's think about timing now. July 10th, they're going to have this meeting. And as I've said, I got a little reminder for the end of July to let me know within 1 week to 2 weeks, meaning the first or second week, somewhere between there, of August, 35% margin hikes coming on all commodities, silver, gold, coffee beans, gas, everything, so that they can destroy the prices. It would be devastating for those prices. So if that kicks in, but this position limit rule kicks in, that means this position limit rule will not kick in until after they do the 35% margin hike. The 35% margin hike, which again we were given 90 days as a little bonus so that they don't destroy the markets. That bonus 90 days is up in early August. So this is just a thought, all right? Bear with me. I think you're gonna see where I'm going with this. July 10th. And again, these dates and these meetings, this is all by design. There's no such thing as, hey, we just decided. These guys are all on the same page. They're all on the same timeline. They're all working together to do this the best way they can to get themselves out of trouble as easy as they can, etc. However, July 10th, we're having a meeting, and we may kick in the swaps rule, right then and there, which will buy them 60 days. So that means July 10th becomes August 10th and then September 10th if they okay it on July 10th. So by September 10th, the rule would be in place, spot month rule, not the rest, not the non-spot month rule, just the spot month rule. And again, maybe that rule is enough to knock JP Morgan out from manipulating the market. It might be, and I don't know, but if it is, listen to what I'm saying. July 10th, they give it the nod. Okay, let's do it. The swaps have been defined. Give us 60 days to implement the rule. One month later, we'll call it August 10th, and that's right around the time frame. The 90 days is up, by the way. In a matter of days, plus or minus, somewhere around there. Probably August 6th or 8th, or somewhere around there. So a month later, they will destroy the commodities prices, everything: gold, silver, coffee beans, oil, food, corn, wheat, everything. Anything that has the word commodity attached to it. And yeah, gold and silver is one of those things. So let's say they destroy the prices way down. They come way down. A whole month later, the position limit rule kicks in. Now, JP Morgan and friends, you can't manipulate silver. So the manipulation's gone. But the price of gold and silver have been so destroyed, they can now sit back and say, all right, let the free open market do its thing now. And because the prices got destroyed so bad, they're willing to let it go wherever it's going to go through the open market or whatever, the free market, right? That's a possibility because they're going to destroy it first, then let it naturally start to grow wherever it's going to go. However, if they did that, even if they destroyed the prices, you know gold and silver are going to fly up. I mean, it would just be out of control. It would be crazy. So they would still need some way of grasping that, you know? And that's why I think the non-spot month rule that kicks in a whole year later, which could be the middle of 2013 potentially, maybe even the third quarter of 2013, it may take that long before silver and gold really make their moves to incredible levels, price-wise. Talking way up. It would have to be after that, in my opinion, unless the spot month rule is enough to do the work that we need. If it was, I'll have to say, why did they make it a two-part rule then? What's the point of saying, well, the non-spot months, you can still hoard a massive amount of paper contracts and still control the market because you're still holding, 25 or 50% of the market. Why would the CFTC have a two-part rule if the first part was good enough for you and me to be satisfied that there's no more manipulation? That's why I can't buy it. I don't think that this is going to matter too much, but it could. That's the thing. It could, and I'm not sure why they would. And if it is enough, and the manipulation finally stops in a matter of 2 or 3 months from now, why did they have the second part of the position limit rules? What was the importance of that? You follow me? They don't do these things by accident. So it remains to be seen what's going to happen. But man, do I feel like, again, 35% margin hike coming to a world near you, it will automatically cause prices to be destroyed. You would probably want to do that, right? You as a government, especially America, since we run things around the world, you would want to say all these things are destroyed in price. Gas prices, including gas, right? Gas way down, oil, the whole 9 yards, silver, gold, food, which a lot of people would appreciate. Hey, gas is down and food's down. Hey, great, right? You would want to do that in advance of having to devalue your dollar as a country, would you not? You wouldn't want to do it when prices are already high now and people are crying the blues about gas and food prices right now, which they are. You would want to do that first, destroy the prices first, then let your dollar get devalued via Ben Bernanke and Mr. Obama, whoever decides to come out and say it. And Ben Bernanke said he would do it. In 2002, November, he gave a speech and said, if I was Federal Reserve Chairman facing depressionary time frame again, like in the 1920s, here's what I would do as guy in charge of the Fed. He rattled off 5 things in order. And in order, he's done the first one, the second one, the third one, and the fourth one so far, now that he's been in charge of the Fed. You want to know what the 5th one is? Devalue the dollar. His 5th and final thing he would do is devalue the dollar. This is exactly what Lindsey Williams said they're going to do. So again, you devalue the dollar, prices start increasing like right away, would they not? We import a lot of crap in this country. Sure, we make a lot of food, we export a lot of food, but we also import food from all over the place and other items. But if you destroyed the prices and commodities first and then devalued your dollar a little while later, it wouldn't hurt too bad, would it? Because the prices for everything would go back up, but they were already destroyed to begin with. And now that let's say you devalue your dollar 50%, and believe me, commodities and everything, they can drop 50% from where they are right now. Just by them dropping that margin increase 35% or increasing it 35%, you could cause devastation. Because again, they used to just attack silver only and say, oh, we're raising margins today 6%, 4% the next day. 3 days later, we're raising it 8 more %. And it would cause people to sell off massive contracts because they're not going to sit there and put money in their account just to maintain their contract. And if they did, they know other people aren't, so it's going to cause their contract, which is silver, to go down. They just lost. So everybody, it's a stampede to sell. You're now talking every commodity 35% hike, not just silver. So you're talking a massive amount of people. If silver was, 4 or 5% of the entire commodities market, and it probably wasn't even that much of it, I don't know. You have the other 95% of all other commodities now getting slammed with this 35% margin hike. It's telling me right now this has to be devastating to the prices of commodities. However, if you saw devastation in the silver market, which because of this, and it dropped to below 15 bucks an ounce or something, the amount of people who would be flying, countries included, central banks included, to gold and silver at these incredibly rock bottom prices would be insane. And I think that could be the time when they come out and say, well, we can't keep up with demand. What do you mean you can't keep up with demand? Silver prices have never been cheaper. That implies you have massive amounts of silver and gold, right? Well, not really, because we rig it with pieces of paper. And now the truth is coming out. We don't have any, even though we're still telling you we're setting the price today, and here's what the price says. No one can get any silver. There may be miscellaneous coins you might be able to pick up, but everything that everybody wants, you can't get it. And everyone's going to sit back and say, well, then how in the hell is it, $12 an ounce today? Just a few months ago it was 25, 30, whatever, right? And now it's $12 an ounce and I can't get it? I could get plenty when it was 25, 26, 27, 28, 30. I could go buy anything that I wanted. Now it's $12 and I can't buy any? Well, this is what the market says, right? So then you would have this disconnect between that rigged paper system, even though they destroyed the prices, right? 35% margin hike, destroys everything. And then you have this disconnect of a real market, which says there is a supply and demand issue, and supply cannot meet the demand right now. How in the hell are we supposed to sit here and look at $12 an ounce? And then you may have places like APMEX, Monex, some of the big players say, we're on back order. Our guys we get it from are on back order. The mint itself, United States Mint, back order. We're not. You can place orders right now, but we're not taking any orders at $12. We're not taking any orders at $12. And you may see that guy do it, then APMEX does it, then Monex does it, then this guy does it, and next thing you know, there's a complete disconnect from whatever the COMEX paper exchange says the price is. That's one way it could go. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But I'm trying to wrap my head around all these things that I have to study and keep up with, and it's difficult, when you do these videos like I do all the time. But I've got my notes and my little calendar reminders pop up my face to keep me on track of things. Thank God for technology right now. But it's something to think about. And like I said, I'm telling you right now, if we get to, end of July and my little reminder pops up, hey, Jay Snip, in a few days they're going to kick in the margin hike. You may want to consider selling some of your silver right now at whatever the price is. And then when they destroy the price with the 35% margin hike, go back in and buy it, before everybody else does, before there's a freaking shortage, if they destroy the prices. Every time they've raised margins, and it was just strictly silver, by the way, it always caused the stampede of people selling. It's a natural reaction. Just like if you stick your hand on a hot plate, or on your stove top, burning hot, it's an automatic reaction, and you don't even have to wonder if another human being walked in and did the same thing, whether they know about that stove or not, if their reaction would be the same. Grab their hand, put it on there, and see if they yank it back like, ow, right, and they got blisters on their hand. It would be the same no matter who went and did it. It's the same thing in these commodity markets, and in particular silver, because that's what they've always done margin-wise. They'd always increased a margin on a late Friday night after the markets close. Headline, CME Group, we're raising margins on silver. You got to be in compliance by end of day Monday. What do you mean? The markets close. It's Friday night. Saturday they're not open. Sunday they're not open. Monday, I'll be the first in line with my little sell order to get out. And I'm going to take some kind of a beating because the big players are going to be able to sell before I can. But it's better than just holding on to it because, and paying them the money to make my contract good for the margin increase that they gave me. Because the price is going down anyways, you just lost. You're going to sell anyways, as I explained. This is everything, every commodity. And I haven't read anything that said, well, we're not going to do it now, or we changed our mind, or anything. If I hear that coming up on August here shortly, another month from now, that, oh yeah, that little 90-day thing they gave us, we were going to raise commodities 35%, but we changed our mind for the margin. I don't think that's going to happen. Again, they do everything, they time everything so that they can still retain control even when it appears they're relinquishing control. For the greater good because we busted them. Don't think so. Not buying it. So the interesting thing is the WebBot is saying sometime in the near future now that it's nailed a few things here recently, it appears to be spot on, there should be some kind of spiking in silver prices. So all the crap that I just told you makes me want to scratch my head even more and say, how the hell can all that make sense? And then yet the WebBot is seeing major explosion upwards, again at least, maybe not an explosion, but definitely big time up sometime in the near future. And again, that assumes that the WebBot is spot on with its timing. And a lot of times it's not. A year later something can happen. So maybe WebBot is seeing 2013 July or August, even though it came out in this report, and it'll be after the secondary part of that rule, that position limits rule with the definition of the swaps kicks in. Therefore, the entire thing now has position limits in place. Could it be then that the WebBot is seeing, even though we think it's going to be this year? It very well could be. I've seen it many times on all kinds of different things that they've predicted. Many times. So I'm not going to discount that and say it can't happen. Sure it can. However, the same report that talked about a lot of things, Fukushima and some other stuff, right? The damaged documents, Eric Holder, man, that thing seems spot on with that. Holy crap. It was exactly within the dates and times that it said it would happen. And attached to the same data is this thing about silver. All it would take is one huge player to say, I need some silver. I got, $2 billion to spend or something. Uh-oh. Oopsie. CME Group, COMEX, can't keep up with that order now, can you? Nope. And then all your little 35% margin hikes and all this crap wouldn't mean a thing in a case like that. So keep stacking your silver. I said it before, I might sell some silver when I hear about this 35% margin increase one way or the other, but I might not. I don't recommend anybody does, because the safest thing to do is to hang on to your silver and keep buying more. But I've met 2 or 3 different goals that I've set in buying more silvers, so I can afford to play a little bit to try to capitalize on something that they're going to do anyways. This isn't paper. I'm not playing a futures contract. If they're going to destroy the market, and all signs point to that, and I determine in my little head, looks like they're going to do it, then by God, I might sell some, take the cash, sit on the sidelines, see what happens when that announcement is made. 35% margin hike, see what the market does. It'll only take a couple of days of the market being open after that happens for prices to be destroyed. 2 or 3 days max. And then I can see, holy crap, the market it just brushed it off. 35% margin hike and it brushed it off. Okay, I'm going to buy back in now because it didn't have an effect. Or, wow, they destroyed the market. I'm going to double my money now. Let me go buy some silver back. That kind of thing. So anyways, that's all I got for you. Let's see what happens here this week, next week. All this news, banking, LIBOR rates, all this scandal. Man, they're just coming out like every week now. This is incredible. Take care.